Well, obviously a very challenging time, not only within San Diego State athletics, obviously within the community and the world as a whole as we deal with something unprecedented. This is something we've obviously in our lifetimes have never seen, and continue to work with all of the different groups that are out there. We work internally with our student athletes and our coaches and our staffs, really trying to support that group as best we can. Very difficult for our student athletes and coaches, especially those that did not have the opportunity to finish their seasons, whether it was winter championships or those spring seasons that are really just getting up and running. So we continue to work with them to understand what the rest of this semester will be. Campus is open. Classes have moved. After today, we'll move to virtual classes. Dorms are going to be open for those students that want to stay at this point in time. So we'll continue to work with campus and our student athletes and our coaches to understand what that looks like. With our staff, we're trying to figure out what to do. For those of you who may not have seen, the NCAA sent out guidance today that we're in a recruiting dead period through April 15th. So coaches are able to still reach out to recruits via phone or text message or whatever it may be, but there's nothing in person going forward, at least through April 15th. And we'll continue to look at look for guidance from the NCAA. From an eligibility standpoint, especially for those students who didn't get an opportunity to finish their sporting season. That's something it's going to be dynamic going over the next couple months, and we'll work with the NCAA to figure out what those eligibility options are going to be for those student athletes. It goes for men's basketball, but it goes for every other one of our sports that was still competing. Those kids had no idea when they stepped off the court in Vegas, or our women's lacrosse team stepped off the field, I think it was last Sunday or last weekend they beat George Mason, that those seniors potentially walked off the court for the last time as wearing Aztec gear or as a competitive student athlete. And it's hard enough when you do it for the last time and you know it's the last time, but it's even more difficult to find out later that, oh my God, I may have just played my last game. So that's probably been the hardest thing, is helping them, come to that reality of they had a phenomenal season. They had a legit chance to win the national championship and do something that, no other men's basketball team had done, at San Diego State, or a team since the men's volleyball team had done it to win a national championship. So that's wrapping your mind around that is extremely challenging. It's literally, I can't tell you how many times we did some video messaging for our staff, students, coaches over the last couple of days. At first we were going to do an all staff, and then a couple of people were like, do we really want to all get in the same room together, be that close together? So it's like, okay, we'll do some video. And literally we would tape the video segment, and either while taping it or right after taping it, new information rolled in. Whether it was via email from the NCAA, whether you got a phone call from across campus. So it's just having the flexibility to respond as we move through these different pieces. So I half jokingly told somebody the other day, at AD school there was not a chapter on pandemics. So it's everywhere in the world today. I mean, everybody is dealing with the what ifs. Finding out this morning that pretty much every school district in San Diego is closing for the foreseeable future, and now how do we work with our coaches and staff, not only within athletics, but within the university and within the community? How do you handle that? So it's something new every couple minutes, it seems like. I mean, there's so many things that go into it. The one thing I can say is the majority of the revenue that we would generate internal to San Diego State is through basketball and football. So but you start getting into conference revenues, what's the NCAA going to do for basketball shares? Are we just going to say, because you can't say, hey, San Diego State was going to get 6 shares because we thought we'd make the Final Four. Do you take those shares that were going to fall off this year and just say, you know what, we're going to act like this year never happened and everybody's getting the same payout that they did last year based on the NCAA tournament? There's a lot of things to figure out. There'll be some impact, but I I don't know that it'll be a huge impact at this point. It has been surreal. We were talking earlier, I told my wife last night, I'm like, be prepared. I'm going to be home every weekend until literally August potentially. And she was like, well, that's fine. I've got plenty for you to do. So, but it is those types of things, and it's addressing those. We're going to have people that struggle with that. I mean, you've got, coaches who are baseball coaches, softball coaches. I mean, they're used to being out there and traveling or in the dugout and those types of things through, the end of May. And I mean, it's different. So, I hope, and, not being able to recruit and do all those types of things, basically you can't really leave. I'm hoping people will take the opportunity to really, engage with your family and, do those types of things. Take this, it's a terrible circumstance, but, they gave us lemons. Let's go make some lemonade if we can figure it out.
I spent today meeting with every player individually, trying to talk to them about the NCAA tournament not being played and what a great year I thought they had as a team individually. And I think they're all pretty accepting of the fact that it wasn't going to be played when they shut down every sport in the country and around the world. That there's not a lot to have to explain to them. They understand the seriousness of the coronavirus and the fact that they couldn't play this event. There was hope that they might suspend it and be able to play it at a later date. But when the NCAA decided to cancel it, I think they all understood that. They're just trying to get over it now, to finish the season 30-2 and have thoughts of playing beyond that. That's hard to get out of your mind. But I think they're slowly coming to grips with it. And I try to keep their focus now on academics. 2 weeks till spring break. Let's make sure we stay good in the classroom. Rest your body. This is not a time to be thinking about basketball. Save your legs, rest up. For those guys that are going to try to pursue a professional career, or for the guys that are going to get ready for next year, time to rest, refresh yourself physically and mentally, and concentrate on your academics, and then enjoy a spring break with your family and friends. I'm sad in the fact that all these guys came and sacrificed part of their games to win, and winning means getting to the NCAA tournament. And so when you look at KJ and Yanni, we all know what great players they were. They've never been to the NCAA tournament. Malachi, MVP of the conference, fourth-year juniors, never been to the NCAA tournament. And that's why they came here, to win and go to the NCAA tournament. They were willing to sacrifice points and individual accolades in order to take a team to the NCAA tournament. And so you put all that work in, and then you're denied that final prize. It has to hurt. It hurts all of us. And it hurts me because they don't get to go. As a coach, I've been. And if I have any good fortune, I'll have an opportunity to take another team to the NCAA tournament. But when it's your only chance to go, then it hurts us all when they can't play in the event. I talked to people. There were coaches that were on the phone saying, let's just suspend it. Let's not cancel it. And I could get on board with that because look at all the change that had happened in 24 or 48 hours. And I'm thinking, well, this much change happens in a day. We might be somewhere else in 3 weeks. But obviously the NCAA felt that in the best interests of the student athletes and public health, this was the way to go. And so you can't sit there in good conscience and argue that. You can hold out hope that things would change in a month and they revisit it, but that's not what's happened, and we have to all accept that.